Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now if you've been watching my channel, you've seen video after video after video in this exact studio. I've been filming here for years now. I've been working slowly but surely at continuous improvement, and well, that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. Because if you look behind me, you will see some lighting. These are the 6-inch 13-watt lights from the company Lumary. Now, in this video today, I'm going to show you all of the details, everything it took to get these lights installed, have a discussion about these versus just traditional recessed lights. We're going to look at the software, the actual app that runs these, some of the things that I think you're going to want to know, the pros, the cons, and how I intend on using these. And so when we get back, all of the details. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Lumary who did provide these for review. And when I say provide these for review, Lumary's did provide me with a 4-pack for this review. But in my studio here, I have 9 lights. So I bought an additional 4-pack and a single to round this out. So I have full control of all the lights here in my studio space. Now it's going to allow me to do a few different things. Set the mood, have good quality overall lighting, have some ambiance, some of the color flare that you're looking for, but more than anything else, well, it's going to give me the control over the lighting for the exact filming needs here in my studio. And so with that, let's get into the installation. So here my current lighting setup, pretty good. You can see 3 LEDs in a row, plus then a couple of different patterns. And on both sides of the room, a little bit darker on this side. Now, the way I have them broken out, working off of this dimmer, you can see here. So that's operating these up here, and this one here across the front, and then this one here in the middle. So what I'm going to do is swap these out. Now, these are currently like daylight balanced, so you know, you're sort of daylight balanced, but having the color will really enhance the overall experience in this room. I'm hoping swapping these out won't be too big of a deal, but the only way to figure that out is to get into it. And so these lights do come in various different pack sizes. Here you can see a pack of 4 and then a pack of 1. I personally need 9 lights for my studio space, so I got 2 4-packs and then a single. Now, generally speaking, they are exactly the same, but the one thing I think is just a little bit funny, if you happen to look here, the 4-pack saying 1000 lumen brightness, where the single being 1100. Now, I really don't think these are different at all. I suspect they're exactly the same. They just need to get their act together on the packaging and figure out whether or not these are 1000 or 1100. But again, I really don't think that makes a difference at all. What I do want to point out is the actual construction of the units, very, very nice. You can see pretty straightforward on the back side here. You can remove the cover, and here is your wiring. There are knockouts in the corners that you're going to leverage to get your actual power wiring through there, wire everything together, leveraging some wire nuts. And then I also personally like to use some electrical tape. Button this all up, and then you can install these into the ceiling. These do leverage these spring clips here, which are a little different than typical recessed lighting design, and overall you have a very nice, tidy, flush package. It does have a little bit of a gasket here. You can see just a little bit of a gasket around that ring to help maintain an airtight seal so that your nice warm air doesn't make it up into your ceiling. And generally speaking, frosted lens, very nice, good, even diffused light. And when you compare the Lumary lights versus your typical recessed lights, you can see just in terms of the size difference. But on top of that, not only do you have the actual light itself, but this here being your new work can, which is just massive. And when you look at what it would take to install this versus this, it is substantial. And beyond all of that, well, the fact that, you know, your traditional lights are sheet metal, I literally just sliced open my thumb, and well, that's just a pain in the neck to deal with. You're not going to have that problem with the Lumary lights. And then here, in this particular situation, you can see how much room that can takes really above my ceiling. Now, I am putting basically these into a drop ceiling, but you can see that can, and that can be pretty tight up into the floor joists if you're not careful or don't have the space. So really, the traditional lights absolutely have their limitations. So here, for my testing purposes, you can see I was able to utilize some pre-existing thread-in adapters from some of my prior recessed LED lights. So in this case, I was able to cut off the adapters to make my own pigtails and allow me to thread in the Lumary lights into my existing new workbox receptacles. Overall, this is not the intended installation, but for testing purposes, this is more than satisfactory. For a permanent installation or for long-term use, these should probably be permanently hardwired. However, again, for testing purposes, this is how I opted to proceed. And so you can see I was able to get the Lumary light up inside that traditional can. It's certainly not the way it was intended, and there are retrofit versions of these, but I did want to test these out and make sure everything worked the way I needed to before I commit to taking out my traditional lights, because, well, anything with technology can be hit or miss. And so that's why, for me, creating the pigtail and testing these out was absolutely worth it. So in order to take full advantage of all of the features in the Lumary LED lights, you do need to download the app. Keep in mind the fact that you will need your Wi-Fi password so that you can connect your Lumary lights to your Wi-Fi network. Downloading the app is very simple and straightforward. I personally used an Android device. Once you have the app downloaded, you will need to start adding devices. You need to add each and every one of your lights. You can do them as a group or independently. One thing that was the most confusing for me to actually get this to work, I had to go into my phone settings and I had to change my nearby device permissions to allow. Without that setting being changed, I could not proceed with any of the changes. But once that was taken care of, it was very easy to add a device. Again, you're either able to add a single device or multiple at a time. I suggest trying the first light before you get too far to make sure everything connects properly. But once you get your app properly installed, everything should be connecting properly, and at that point you can start to leverage the settings within the software. Like here, for example, I was able to start changing my LEDs to different colors, and in this particular case, to red. And so I'm either fundamentally missing something here, or these lights are just difficult. At this point, I do have my lights programmed in. They're all synced up. I've made some strategic groups, like for example, lights 1, 2, and 3 are all grouped together. But if I turn off group 1, well, there they go. They turn off and immediately blink back on. My group 5 and 6 are in the middle, actually over my shoulder here. Again, turning them off, and well, what happens? They turn back on. So I'm either fundamentally missing something here, or they're glitchy, and I believe it is the latter. Again, I can control lights individually, so turning off light 1, turning off light 2, or even turning on light 3, that seems to work just fine. But when I go to control the entire group, well, now I'm trying to turn on 1, 2, and 3, turning them back off. They're blinking and coming back on. Now I could go to the wall switch and turn them off, and that would do it. But then when I turn the wall switch back on, the lights go through their startup process. They're connecting to the Wi-Fi. It takes a little bit. So it's kind of weird. I don't know what to say about it. Again, I find these to be quite glitchy. Again, playing with the light settings here, back in that group 1, 2, and 3, I just tried to set them to blue. You can see the one on the very end, light number 3, did go blue. Clicking red here. Oh, now 1 and 2 went red. But number 3 doesn't want to play nice. Why is that? I can go into light number 3. Light number 3, can I individually program it? Nope. Increase or decrease brightness? Nope. So at this point, light number 3 decided it wanted to stop communicating. I need to go over, turn off my lights, turn them back on. Now you can see clearly light number 3 came back in white, and it's not blue. So if I go back into my color dimmer, oh, now it seems to be communicating potentially with the group. If I go back into group number 3 and change them all to blue, yes, it is now communicating with the group. So every now and then the lights decide they're just going to lose their connectivity with the router. Again, a little bit difficult. Going back to red. There you go. Dimming down the group. So master dimmer. That's not bad. And if I wanted to turn my other lights off, kicking off all my studio lights here, and a nice subtle soft glow. Again, I can raise the brightness of these, bring them all the way up. You can see nice little glow. Let's go to blue. Blue light effect, pretty cool. Now if I wanted to leave and just kind of let this room just glow at night, very low amount of power draw here, or I could even dim these down way more, and that's kind of nice. It's like a nightlight effect, which is very, very cool. Again, I can go through different scenes, so I can click fast scenes. So this one here is called night. Night, you can see, is kind of a nice warm glow. This one here called working. That's supposed to be pretty much full blast white light. This one here called soft. You can see the lights are changing to that soft color palette, and they are apparently dimming and changing colors potentially, maybe just dimming. Leisure, that's a very warm light. It's actually probably not as warm as the warmest light, but pretty warm. Read, very bright, capable of seeing what's going on. This one here called night light, again dimming all the way down. So you have all these nice little fast modes that you can dip through. They call these scenes. This one here, vitality orange. Let's go to some seasonal things. This one here, American style. So these are going to change. You can see here, blue transitioning to white, transitioning to red. So going through the different colors, again, sort of a red, white, and blue theme. Halloween, as we click on it, kind of a purple color and sort of an orange color. Camera white balance, probably not going to be perfect. It does look a little more blue to the picture and maybe a little more yellow, but it's kind of like a purple and an orange to my eyes. But all in all now, again, just going to that full brightness, going into the dimmer mode. So as I click into the dimmer mode, I can either pick between my different colors or my pure white, and then raising that color and brightness all the way up. So very flexible, but just glitchy. I wish it was smoother.
Now also keep in mind the fact that you do get a remote control with these lights. You need to program the remote to sync it with your lights. Now I did find that again, this can be quite glitchy. To date, I have yet to be able to get my remote to connect with all of my lights at the same time. And even if I use the remote to turn the lights off for some reason, they come back on.
Automatically turn them back on.
Now, I'm not sure exactly why that is, and I feel like I need a little more time for testing, but at the same time,
I don't get it.
Very frustrating, and to my original point, quite glitchy.
And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Lumary 6-inch 13-watt lights. Now, again, mixed results. I'm going to end this entire thing by saying this is a great idea. I think it's just not quite refined yet, or I'm just simply missing something. I just can't get the control I'm looking for. Now, right now, I have this scene absolutely perfect. I'd love to just turn on the lights, get to some filming, do what I need to do, and let's just say I get to the point where, well, maybe I want to illuminate this entire scene, brighten things up a bit. I should be able to go right into my scenes. I should be able to go into one of my set points, and let's just say my all grouping. So right now I have a grouping called all. Click on it, go to my scenes, and well, maybe I want to just change it up a bit. Maybe I want to get to the point where I have plenty of light. And then I just want to get back to my custom settings again. It's not what I had set. I had blue on this side. I had red on this side. I had white light above me. This does not allow you to save the custom setting for your groupings on a light by light and individual basis. That's like a major miss. To me, that's half of what you're trying to do here. I can only change all of the lights on a global setting. Now, there are other features in here that you can play with to get into super custom if-then statements and things like that. But to me, that's way too busy. I should be able to go into my scenes. I should be able to load a specific scene for my given light setup and be off and running. And so at this point, I have a right-hand side. So the lights to the right of me, if I click on them and let's see, maybe I can get these to change to blue. It's not having it. Why? Why can't I change my right-hand side? What about my left-hand side? Well, I want those to be red. Why? Why won't they go? I don't understand. But now if I go to my all, well, I can change my all. I'm just so confused. This should be so simple, yet it's not. So that's my takeaway. Other than that, the quality of the lights seemingly fantastic. There are a little bit of glitches. You've seen it. I mean, so the little bit of glitches, is that going to get in the way? I could work with it if I could just turn off all my lights. How do I turn them all off? I hit off. You saw it. Why did half of them come back on? I'll do it again. Now they're all on. Hit it again. They just come back on. I don't understand. I really want this system to work. I really want to enhance this studio space. I want to enhance, my living experience and the things I'm trying to do. So if the lights are going to be glitchy, they're not quite going to work. Again, I mean, I have a router literally sitting right next to me, a perfect wireless connection, a phone that's transmitting within the room. I don't understand. The remote. Some of the lights went. I've tried to program the other ones. It's just glitchy. So even though I think these are a great idea overall, and I think there's some very wonderful attributes about them, I think there's a little bit of work to go in terms of the programming and the software and the light communication themselves. And so that's a look at the Lumary's 13-watt LED lights, the 6-inch version. And so again, mixed results for me. Hard to say how it'll be for all of you, but again, to the people at Lumary's, thank you very much for providing these for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there, so if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. Come on. I'll see you soon.